Hello, everybody. It's T-Bone back for another episode of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, not much for an intro. Let's move on here, shall we? Okay, last episode we talked about how my group relieved a siege off a city of Shinso. Should've Yeah. But anyways, they got told by basically a soldier, yeah, you're wanted in the capital. In this country's capital, not where they have to go, but they have to get through that to go, so it's on the way. As they're going to this capital, something seems strange. And sound was off. They got apprehended by guards, and the Dragonborn wanted to refuse to get captured, and she rolled in that one. I mean, but anyways, character's a female, but anyways, moving on. The character rolled in that one. I remember that because then I have to come up with something on the fly. And honestly, I just said, has you tried to have them unhand you or that and try running? You did that, but then they grabbed you again because you didn't run that far. You thought getting 5 feet away would do it. That's basically what I had said. And that's what actually they told me. Hey, can I just have my character just go 5 feet away then? And I'm like, okay. And honestly, that was pretty funny for me, anyways. I'm like, man, a DM can understand the troubles of a group. Moving on, though. As my group, though, came to the capital, that happened. Then they were basically put into court. And the court is actually, there were 3 parties, but there's only 2. Chancellor and, well, the nobles. And nobles are not the friendliest. They're actually, we're getting corrupt. Has the older ones go out, newer ones come in, and those guys are bribable and all that, and then they, accept bribes to screw people over. That's what they do. So it's pretty corrupt, but here's the thing. They have to have the Chancellor go on board, because technically, when the king isn't there, the Chancellor has 2 says, 2 votes. While, basically, the one party has 1. All the nobles together only have 1 vote. And they have to vote all together. If, let's say, there was 5 nobles that want this guy out of the 6. Yeah, majority wins for the nobles. But if there's a tie, then whoever the Chancellor and King want would be, put. But anyways, he's been just trying to correct everything because these nobles been getting so corrupt. They've been trying to charge these soldiers that came back from a battle that were wounded and saying, oh yeah, you have to pay for your own medical. Yeah, stuff like that. And he's always on the more just side. He believes he is justice. And when I made that, I'm like, that would be interesting. And he, at this point, was getting sick of it because I rolled dice to see if he is going to listen to the person that's accusing my party of betrayal and other things. Moving on, though. He literally doesn't care shit. He just... You've been accused with it's a fight, right? And my party's like, what? Yeah, I'm with you on this. I vote both my votes on this part. And, to And basically, the Chancellor is untouchable. Unless there's a king. And he's getting so sick of these courts. At this point, he's like, I'm so sick and tired of these little shits driving away this kingdom. And he just, like, he's in the court once a day at least. If not, 4 times a day. Like, I kind of gave that impression, like, he's in there a lot. And after that, he's like, looks at David. Oh, you're an old friend. And they kind of, like, have the reunion. They were war buddies in the Great Aurora, and I talked about that, I think, last episode. Or, actually, if you guys are wondering on David's backstory, I'm trying to make a Wattpad type thing, and voting, like, doing these small little stories, like 5-bit stories. And if it works out, it's going to work out, and it's going to be great for you guys, but there's some stuff negating that, but nothing too major, though. And they kind of reunite for a bit, and then depart ways. Like, kind of like as old buddies, and you can get the sense that he became Chancellor because the king knew him to be the just guy, and he would be on justice most of the time. And I could have made an evil guy out of this guy, but for some reason I didn't want to, because then it would have been hell for them to get to Drake. And I didn't want I had both of these players were new of the two, and they had 2 NPCs. They actually hired people to walk around with them for a bit. And then they'll depart ways when they reach, like, another settlement or that. And it's kind of like, But anyways, they kind of went back on their merry way. Then, I-year-old encounter when leaving the city. Me, I don't do this all the time. Like, every 2 times, I do it once. Out of, like, every 3 times, basically. Instead of doing it every single time. Because after that fight, I don't want my group to die. Like, that big fight. And the higher roll you get, the more screw-up monster you're going to get. And for their level, I had a young dragon. And that I would roll what type. And I rolled to see if they'll, like, do, like, get an account or not. Like, the first, like, 20% roll for percentile, it's nothing. And I've been rolling real bad lately for that, but it rolled 100. And I'm like, well, fuck me. Okay, you guys are screwed. Because as they're walking, and I had them roll for perceptions, and they actually rolled amazing. Because one had a magical item. He had like a +9 in his perception. And yeah. And that's something I don't like. Like me, I try making magic items help with their stats more so than attack. Like, they might get that one magic sword or magic staff, but that's it. Otherwise, they don't get much else. And as this is all unfolding, the unthinkable happens, and they basically pissed off a dragon that smelled them from a mile away that was in a nearby mountain, and honestly, that's actually pretty believable. And it was a red dragon. A young red dragon. And to me, I'm like, I looked at the stats originally. I'm like, I think they can take this. Like, in my head, I thought they could, because they actually hired a real good adventurer, and actually it was the guy's daughter. The king's daughter type thing, David's. But anyways, we're not going to get into that. But she was a homebrew class that actually specializes in killing dragons. So I thought, hey, they have this because it can 2 dragons anyways, with one of her skills, it can do double damage. And how you do double damage, you roll. But then when you crit, because it relies on armor, you roll again for more. So yeah, you do a lot of rolling. And it kind of almost one-shot my whole group, but that one. Because it also resists on only some dragon roll type rolls, but not all. And all that. And yeah, my group really had a headache with it. But soon after targeting those two, it soon targeted the Dragon Slayer, kind of. Just like, oh fuck. Oh, fuck me. And because the Dragon Slayer female was dealing out about 30 damage per a turn. And she had 2 attacks that did that. So she was dealing like 6 damage per her like round. And my group together was dealing about 50. And me, I nerfed because he was doing a lot of damage to all my party members. And so I nerfed his health by like 10 to help them. And one of them asked, hey, do you think for this battle, can we just have like anything that goes above 20 crit? And me, I was like really terrified of this, like my group's gonna die. Then I won't have a party no more, and then I'll probably be a player. And all that. And one of them is like, I can try learn DMing. I'm like, oh no. So I kind of gave in to that because I have more fun being a DM than a player. Like, that's me, but you guys might be different. Like, you might have more fun being that player, but me, I love making these maps, my worlds and all that. And I don't actually buy the add-ons or that because I thought, for that price, why should I? Because I could just make that myself and make my own world suit it instead of rely on someone else's. And I'd probably use some old stuff from them without knowing, but me, I like making these worlds that are so complicated. And so, when all this is happening, I just said, screw it. Let's just do it for this one match. And then the dragon was having a tough time, but when one of the characters used the spell of holding, the dragon was having a nightmare. It was rolling nat 1s and 2s for the whole time. It couldn't get a save on its life. And I believe it does have like a legendary resistance. I have to look at that. Because I think I took away a resistance to stuff like the spell of holding. Because, man, I'm like, my group won't care, and me, I'm just trying to get my group past this battle, and I'm not trying to give them it. I'm actually, I'm kind of having the dragon target whoever does more damage that round. So let's say, like, the Dragon Slayer did 1 damage, or didn't hit at all, and it just, who will get screwed, kind of, like, to my other 2 players, like, my 2, like, players, but, luckily, though, the Dragon Slayer was taking most of the damage, but, though, then he almost used his breath weapon again, but they barely just killed it. If it would have used its breath weapon again, they were all 3 in that radius. So technically, they could all died. Because that one character was down to like 5 life. All of them were below 5 life, or 5 life. And it was a nightmare. And they're like, hey, can we level up so you don't need to worry about... Because they realized that I kind of misread something, and I told them it's my fault, and I gave them a magic item that I thought wouldn't be OP, And I thought, hey, this could be a cool one for dragons. Or it's a dragon's eye type thing, and they have to come up with the idea of kind of looting the body of the dead dragon for the scales or the eye or something like that. But one of them just like, I want the eye. Not, and I'm like, the scales too, or no? The eye. And I'm like, okay, let you know, you have to get some of the scales out of the way to get the eye, but yeah, you can get the eye. And I had him roll, see, as he's trying to retrieve it, seeing how good he can do without damaging it. Because that'll increase the, like, the ability on the, like, I had, like, 3 types of, the sucky one, then the decent one, and then the awesome one. And the second one, he had to get, like, a 5 or 1, like, to that range. And for the amazing one, it was only one number, correct. Otherwise, the middle one was, like, almost any number. He rolled a nat 20. And as I like saying it, you're carving out, and you get it in your hands with blood soaking up your over your golden hands. Like it's a golden dragonborn, and she's like, I want to make a necklace out of it. And then keeps on modifying it, and I'm like, roll d20, see how good you are, and it didn't have proficiencies or even the tools, but I said do disadvantage. It rolled for a low one, a 16. The high one was a crit, and disadvantage takes a low one. So yeah, still passed though, and it made actually a pretty good sick necklace. And yeah, no, that character has item that increases. I actually rolled to see what stat it would increase by 1 for like the overall stats, not like the abilities or skills. And it actually modified 2 and by 1. And it modified the strength by 1, but then also modified wisdom by 1. And that was something I was kind of like, that can be good. And those were his 2 low ends of abilities. Like had -1 in, I think, wisdom, and that brought him to 0, I think. Actually, no, not quite yet. He still has that -1 still. And but then he got his I'm trying to think here, all his abilities right now. And his strength got +1 because that was the 11, I think, or maybe it was 10. No, it has 11. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. But as they get to Drake, and that's where I'm going to do part 2 of David's backstory, what I know. So the backstory on YouTube is going to be different than Wattpad, alright? Because it goes more in depth. Well, anyways, as it reaches Drake, and he reaches Skylar's house, and if you guys don't know who Skylar is, go to the last 2 episodes, watch them, and then come back to this one. And that's the easy way. But anyways, she was super happy, and then as she looks up, you know, don't you? And David, you've been getting bits and pieces of the memory that was erased or locked, I put it, though, to him, and you can unlock it over time, but it's just difficult. You have to be around familiar faces and all that sort of stuff, and stuff has to happen. Like dramatic stuff, like a war, and you lead an army that the people call you king. I get pretty dramatic. And he gets a sense, this is home. This is home. And it makes that sense like he belongs here. Like, he really does belong. And made him feel in a way that he's home. In the even though in a different empire and in a different city named Drake, but he feels more at ease. Because he'd been up and going all this time, and after I explained like that, like he doesn't, I didn't say he felt that, but he's like, and I'm like, give your opinion on this. Like, do you feel at ease and he's a good role player, by the way, and he's like, I feel more at ease and more at home. That's what he actually said, not me. Like me, I do that so my players can role play if they want to role play. If they don't, then sucks to be them. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And I'm going not because now I'm catching up too fast. Because if I do one more video on this topic, I'm going to be right up on my tail. And I'll leave barely any story to talk about and all that. And this one's just kind of fun to talk, and I just don't want to be over yet. I just want to have that one story advance type time. But anyways, hope you guys like and enjoy the video, and see you later. Peace.